Good evening, fellow forex traders. It is Friday night, November 30th, 2018. Yes, Friday night I'm recording forex videos because, well, I have two very young children, no babysitter, no nearby relatives to help out, and consequently, no life. So, what better thing to do than stare at charts on Friday night? Anyway, let's get into it here. It's been a while since I've done a video just because I've been pretty busy with life, the holidays, etc. I hope everyone else has been the same. But I just want to look at S&P 500 and equities in general right now to start because what we're seeing is a lot of just ping pong consolidation here, and this could go. Obviously, it could go one of two ways. It could be just a consolidation and a nasty move lower, or this could be the bottom, right? And this could be another kind of what we saw here in earlier in the year. It could be what we saw in 2015, and we could be going back to all-time highs. So, yes, we're sitting under the 200-day moving average in S&P 500. We're above, though. We're above the the opening level for the year, so we're positive on the year right now. A move lower would put us back negative pretty quickly, but things are still relatively bright here. And if you look at the weekly chart, I mean, this doesn't look all that bad at this point. Balling up consolidation here. You've got MACD, which looks like it wants to just creep higher. RSI feels like it's kind of bottomed out. There's a lot of headroom here, and we found support against the 100-week moving average. And this week we had some decent buy volume. And it's pretty solid, right? And that's a nice candle, especially following a pretty nasty one last week, which again, like, look at the sell volume here. Lower sell volume. Again, we had, of course, Thanksgiving holiday, so it was a shortened week, but, volume's volume. So low volume on a big, nasty weekly candle. Good volume on a nice-looking green one. So next week's going to be interesting. And I think, if we get above this kind of 281 area, there's not a whole lot that stops us from going to at least retest these all-time highs and maybe poke a bit higher. It'd be interesting to test the lower level of this trend line here as resistance. And that would coincide probably with a slight all-time high here move. And whether we bust higher there or we fail could be really, really interesting. So that's kind of what I'm watching. I'm not going to go through NASDAQ or the Russell 500 right now, but if you're thinking about equities in terms of risk on, risk off, and you're looking at dollar yen, this makes a lot of sense too. We're seeing this consolidation here right under this key 114, call it 50 level, that goes back with this touch. Just the more we ball up here, the more I feel like we're going to explode higher. And if you draw, there's a bunch of different ways you could draw this trend line, but really, you could draw one from here to all the way over, connecting all this stuff. It's a little uglier, but really, we're talking about, an ascending triangle here. Higher lows and kind of, lower highs, but for the most part, it just feels like we want to boil over, if you will. And I played dollar yen alongside a couple times this week, but I'd really like to see it break through here. And I don't think it's a bad trade buying anywhere here. A stop below 112.20. It's a ways down. So if you want to take a small position, a larger position here, you could have a 113.10 stop loss and look for a move through this 114.50. Not a bad trade. And if it comes down anywhere near this trend line right here, I'd be buying for sure. But most of my focus has been, again, on euro dollar. Just because, again, this is one of the cleanest charts I'm seeing. And it's just been easy money, really. If you're not doing anything stupid, it's been relatively easy. One thing we did have this week through kind of a wrench in things, you see this move here. It's better to see on a lower time frame just to see this move, big move up. That was our favorite Fed chairman, Jay Powell. was a little bit dovish. Came out sounding like rates had kind of hit equilibrium. So people kind of took that as, hey, we're not looking to hike rates as much as maybe the market thought we were, bash the dollar. And that's what happened here. I don't think it changes anything, to be honest. Trends just don't change on, one speech from the Fed chairman. It just doesn't happen. So I actually tweeted about that. If you're not following me, you should. Basically said here, his seemingly dovish comments just is what I said. It's not going to change the trend just that quick. And lots of overhead resistance. You see it here all over the place. If you look at the 4-hour chart, we have moving averages. We have this purple trend line. It's just a beautiful downtrend here of like, of course I'm going to sell into that any opportunity I get. So I was a seller after those comments. I had a position on, got stopped out for a good profit, and then I waited a bit and I started reselling. And here's how the trade developed. You see it here, settled down, all these wicks. It's really telling, right? People selling it, it's distribution. Weakness, this was earlier today. And it's a great sell-off today. And I actually ended up taking profits on those shorts, 113.10, just because, it's not because I think that, EURUSD is heading higher now, but I do think we're probably due for a temporary balance. This is the zone I'm looking to sell into, this whole triangle here. So really anywhere from 113, call it 35, to 113.75, that's 40 pip range. Happy to sell. So I'll be stacking orders there or just watching it to hopefully pull into here and stall out. I would expect it to stall out ahead of 113.60. But again, even if it got up in this 114 area, I'd probably still be a seller. I'm not bullish long-term, short-term, any term euro-dollar unless it breaks this purple trend line. Simple as that, right? So selling again into this zone, I'd be looking for a break, a test, minimum test of these lows at 112, call it 68, probably move down through 112, hopefully next week. I mean, that'd be ideal. I'd love that. So this is the cleanest setup in my mind. Dollar yen looks good also, but in terms of, I watched sterling yen, which, it's been a bit choppy. Kind of broke this triangle here, which I figured it'd break down rather than up. Just because it's an ascending triangle doesn't mean anything. This is a downtrend. But we haven't seen much follow through. We very well could, move from here, 114.70 to even these lows, or 144.70 to these lows. It's only 60 pips, so that's, it's not crazy good, but if it broke those and headed down to these lows, that could be a good risk reward if your stop's here. I don't love it. I don't love trading sterling in general right now. You still have a lot of Brexit stuff floating around, and it's just go either way. Euro sterling is very choppy, obviously, with the Brexit stuff too. Any kind of headline is pushing it around. You can see that really well on the weekly chart. There's just all of this congestion in here that, it's really not a great trend to be trading, because there's no trend. Or if you're into range trading, go for it. I'm not. It's not my thing. But again, so I'm just focused on euro dollar. And if you look at the weekly here, the 200 moving average, it's hard to see, but it's up here, and I'm over scrolling here, it's 113.13. So we just closed barely above that level. I wouldn't give, it's basically on it. It's hard to say that's being held as support or broke below right now, but I'm still bearish on this pair until, again, like I said, this purple trend line breaks. So that's really all for me. Hopefully I can start doing these videos on a little more regular basis now, but stay smart, stay safe out there. Focus on the pairs that are giving you clear, trade setups. Dollar yen, euro dollar right now. Euro dollar is my favorite looking chart. And, don't get distracted doing other stuff. And stay smart. Keep those stops in. You don't want something like this Powell speech blowing out your whole position. That's no fun, right? So stay smart, trade smart, and hopefully you have a great week this week. Later, gang.